You're inside the Taylor Tilton Hour. Be sure to check out our podcast, The Taylor Tilton Show, streaming live every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central on YouTube and Facebook with replays on Spotify and Google. Then enjoy the Taylor Tilton Hour on Comcast channels throughout the Southeast. For more information about the host of the show, visit ChristieTaylorConsulting.com. Welcome to the Christie Taylor Show. I'm your host, Christie Taylor. Super excited to have you here today. And we're going to talk to an amazing young man who is a content creator and also into sales and marketing, but he's making big headway in the HBCU universe. We're talking about Cornell Conaway. He is a content creator and has worked in sales and marketing for almost 20 years. He graduated from Bowie State University and has earned a master's degree in marketing from Johns Hopkins University. In addition, Cornell is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Inc. and Gainz Sportsgear is a fitness equipment and apparel manufacturer based out of Maryland. It's a company owns the trademark for HBCU athlete and has designed patents for workout grips. Now, Gainz Sportswear is available online and at Goals and Merit clubs within the Maryland area. Now, HBC Athlete is an athleisure and fitness brand geared towards bringing awareness to HBCU sports and athletic programs. HBCU Athlete has licensing agreements with Bowie State University, Hampton University, Howard University, and Coppin State University. I want you to help me bring to the Christie Taylor Show, Mr. Cornell Conaway, also known as Brother Chico.
How you doing?
You know, you have a lot of names there, so I just definitely want to make sure that we had the Cornell Conaway, but I understand that for the street cred, I need to say Brother Chico.
Brother Chico is fine. Yeah, that's what I'm known in the streets as. Yeah. Cornell is like the 9 to 5 name, and it's past 5. So
it's after
we on free time. We on free time. Good.
Well, first of all, I really appreciate you coming to the show because I love meeting interesting people, and the journey that you've been on is truly amazing. So I want to kind of run it back to, give me that origin story, born and raised on the playground. Where did you spend most of your days?
Okay. All right, Will Smith. From Baltimore, Maryland. I attended, as you said, Bowie State University, member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I received my undergrad in business management, and I have my master's degree in marketing. So I've been in sales. Actually, it's over 20 years. So I appreciate you saying it's 20 years. So I don't want you to age me. But so the sales I've been in pharmaceutical sales, so medical sales for a long time, right? And Christie, I can say Christie, right? Because I'm older than you. I can say Christie, right? Okay.
Yes, you can say Christie.
All right. Okay. So I've always wanted to basically go in the lane of entrepreneurship, right? Mm-hmm. And my wife was the one that kind of pushed me into it, right? She's an entrepreneur herself. She has a hair care line called Kitchen Chronicles Hair Care Supplies. So she makes organic oil and hair butter. So she was basically saying, hey, no one can talk better than you, so you just start basically talking for yourself. So that's when I started Gainz Sportsgear. I'm big into fitness. I love working out, and the first product that we launched was called the Load and Lock grips. And these grips are made to basically for any push and pull exercise, to lock into the bar, to give you a tighter grip with the secondary benefit of wrist support. And we have a design patent on that. But moving forward, because I'm an HBCU alum, I wanted to create something that spoke to the HBCU community, because I knew the other companies that were not Black, because you're not going to find a lot of Black companies actually making fitness equipment. All right.
Wow.
You're not going to find a lot. Like we make knee sleeves, elbow sleeves, weightlifting belts, resistant bands. So I said, I have to do something that speaks to my HBCU community. And the first thing we did was the picture that you showed was our HBCU athlete wrist wraps. Yes. So we did that really a little bit before Dion actually started bringing a lot more awareness to the HBCU. Let me go ahead and lock in this trademark before somebody else try to grab it. We just been, a lot of folks try to, crackling on our stuff, right? So you know how that works. So I had to make sure that we protected the brand. And so from that, we started doing HBCU athlete apparel. And then that's when we got into the licensing. So you mentioned some of the licenses that we have, but actually we have a lot more schools now. So we're trying to rock and roll and trying to make some noise out here. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the brand.
Congratulations to you. And, I'm really grateful that you talked about the partnership you and your wife had, her being an entrepreneur, her encouraging you to get out into these, the ventures that you're now on, and applauding to you both, because Black business is so important in our community. Yes. But I noted that you said that this also spurred out of your own love for fitness. Now, I understand that if we can just kind of give me some understanding about athletic training and resistance training and how the HBCUs, particularly working with their sports programs.
So a lot of the HBCUs, they have, well, I'll just speak to Bowie State University, right? I was lucky enough to the strength and conditioning coach that was down there at the time. We were at Bowie at the same time. Going to school.
Undergrad.
So undergrad, exactly. So he actually reached out to me and said, listen, we could purchase our resistant bands that, would basically help them with their running and their training and their agility, especially with the football teams, right? So they said we could purchase from anybody, but, we want to make sure that we purchase our product with you, and so that's where we had the collaboration with making sure that their resistant bands had Gainz Sportsgear on it, along with Bowie State University, as well as their lifting belts and their wrist wraps. So the training is very
website.
important.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was checking out your website and I really love the design. I said I was checking out the website and I really love the design.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That particular aspect of that. Who assists you with as a person who's in fitness, how do you determine what type of gear you're going to invest and take to the market, and who assists with design?
So the design is pretty much all on me, honestly. I guess I do have to take the credit for it because I didn't have any help with any of the designs. The grips actually came to play because I loved working out with workout grips. But the issue was that I felt the grips that were on the market were inefficiently made, as well as they were very expensive. So I said, you know what, I want to make a more affordable grip that's just as good as the grips, or not better, that's out there on the market, but I want to add my touch to it. So that's why I had to get that design patent, because the grips that were out on the market before our loading lock grips, in my opinion, were not long enough. So when you had lifters that were doing exercises such as pull-ups or deadlifts, right? The grips that were out there, I felt like they weren't long enough to get totally around the bar. So our grips are pretty much like the longest grips that are on the market, right? And also, I wanted to make sure that the padding was extra thick. So these heavy lifters, when they go up in weight, when they go to like 315, 400, stuff that's way past me, that the weight is not pulling onto their wrist, so their wrist is still protected. So what I did was I got with a company overseas that let me cut my first prototype, and I took the prototype to a gym, and I said, hey guys, these guys were basically professional powerlifters. I said, I want you to test these out. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, and I'll make the twitch. So they looked at them, they used them, said, man, you need to change this, twerk that. Then I went back to my manufacturer, and that's when we came out with the loading lock grip. So I'm very proud of that product. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it's crazy. I feel like this HBCU, the apparel line is kind of like taking off on a whole nother. It feels like a whole separate business than the fitness business. So
I was wondering about that, because even as I was checking out your social media platforms, your website, it does really seem like two businesses in one. So thank you for clarifying that, because you do have the fitness, and then you have the I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Is it athleisure? That's the new word.
Yeah,
Where you
yeah,
put
that's the uppity way of saying,
yeah,
special. That's all. We'll go with that. Yep, athleisure. Mm-hmm.
athleisure. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about that, because when you do get into more streetwear, now you're in the fashion industry more than the fitness apparel
Yeah,
industry.
right.
Let's talk about how you entered into that space.
Okay, you ready?
Yes, I am
Right.
ready for the
Okay. All
story.
right. Okay. So, like I said, well, the first, remember, I started with the wrist wraps, right? And then
Correct.
that's when I said, a lot of the Gainz sports gear stuff, it was, as far as like the apparel, it was selling, but it wasn't like, wasn't gangbusters, right?
Mhm.
So once I did the HBCU athlete, probably my first hoodie, it really took off, and that's what really inspired me. On top of a lot of the folks, the HBCU alum that was on my pages for social media, those are the folks that really inspired me to start really getting the licensing for the different
Mhm.
schools, because they were saying, well, when are you going to get Bowie State, or when are you going to get such and such, right? So that's when I had to look into the licensing aspect of it, which is a journey. So that's not easy,
Okay.
because you have a lot of these companies out
Mhm.
here that are selling these HBCU trademarks without having the proper licensing, right?
Ooh.
Because when you have the licensing, they get a royalty. First of all, you have to pay for the license. Some of these
Mhm.
schools charge for the license, but they also
Mhm.
get a royalty at the end of the month, which makes me feel good, because I feel like now I'm giving back to each of these schools,
Exactly.
right?
Mhm.
So that's very important to me as well. But that's how I kind of got into it. We started with the HBCU athlete design, and we had like Deion Sanders, he wore it.
Yeah,
You're
saw
a
that.
podcaster, so I don't know if you're familiar. One of my favorite podcasts is called the Pivot. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yes.
it. It's okay.
Yes.
So a lot of guys from the Pivot and I Am Athlete, they started wearing the brand. So that's what really sparked a lot of interest and got a lot more eyes on the Gainz sports gear when they saw, folks wearing it, from these different podcasts that were out there. So after that, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. I'm
I was
sorry.
like, Brother Chico, I was thinking as well,
Mhm.
when I was looking at the amazing work that you have, is that it has entered into the mainstream. And shout out to Deion Sanders for all that he did and
Yeah,
continues to do to just elevate the game first and foremost. And of course, I got to
yeah,
tell you, the fact that Jackson State University has always
yeah,
taken on Tennessee State University, and the Southern Heritage
yeah,
Classic has been held in Memphis. There was a lot of emotions
yeah.
about those changes, but I tell you, it has been for the better, because it is elevating HBCUs, the notoriety of it across the country. So shout out to everybody who's making that lift. Now, I did see that Anthony Anderson, who has been to Memphis, he starred in Hustle and Flow, that he is from
Mhm,
Howard University, and he
mhm.
showed you love when it came to your apparel. Can we talk
Oh,
about those partnerships that you have,
oh,
not
man,
just
you
with the
you you
schools?
doing you doing your research, huh?
Come on.
Sheesh, I was going to say, did he wear it yet? You must have saw it. Okay. So so I actually so this is what I did when I started getting the licensings, right? I wanted to basically kind of go on an HBCU tour. I wanted to go to the schools where I had licensings at, right? And I had the licensing, but the apparel was not yet in production. But I
Mhm.
actually had the samples that I had made. So I just wanted to go and show folks the samples and see if I could, spark some interest, right? So I actually ended up meeting I met Anthony Anderson's stylist.
Okay.
She's a Howard grad, right?
Mhm.
And she's familiar with my brand. And I know we have a mutual friend. So I said, hey man, you gotta get Anthony. I gotta get him a Howard crew neck, man. Make that happen for me. So I went to Hampton. I went to Hampton's homecoming like that Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday I went to Howard. They had a day party at Howard, so I saw her there. So after we went and got some drinks, she went around back and she FaceTimed him, right? And so when he was talking, I basically screenshot it so I could basically have proof that he was talking about me, because people don't believe me. You know what I mean? I had to make sure I screenshot it, right? So so I got his after I finally got the production done, got his address from his stylist, and we actually sent him out a package. So we're just waiting for him to wear it. That's what I thought you was going to say. I saw Anthony Anderson wear your Howard shirt, but you saw something on my social media. But I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, that's
Take
right.
what I can
That's
get.
right. Just the very fact that you've made the connection, and it's an
Mhm.
interesting point that you've made when it comes to building out any type of line is to have strategic partnerships and alliances, and to be able to tap into a stylist. That is such a smart niche, just like the partnerships you're creating with the universities, the HBCUs. I tell you. Now, of course, I have not seen yet that you've made it to the to this portion of the country yet. We have Lamont Owen College here. Come on, make you sweat, make you sweat. We got Lane down here. That's quite a few that I know that you're going to be making your way. What type of, if someone's watching right now here in Memphis and they're like, wait a minute, she's talking to the guy who's doing all this amazing stuff, you know, promoting HBCUs. How can schools partner with you?
Well, so basically, a lot of these schools, they use a third-party company to handle their licensing, right? And so I'm already in the system to basically actually acquire any of the licensing that this third party basically has partnered with. So they do the partnerships with all the schools. So my thing is that right now we have a total of probably maybe 12 schools now. We just acquired 4 more because I'm trying to get more CIAA schools because I'm in Baltimore and the CIAA has moved from Charlotte to Baltimore. I want to make sure we had more CIAA schools, so I can be a vendor and make sure that I have to make the customers happy. But we just got Cheney, which is not a CIAA school, but Lincoln is. But Cheney and Lincoln have this back and forth like Howard and Hampton, so I couldn't get one without the other. Right? They battle about who was the first, so it's crazy. And the CIAA schools that we just picked up that already have Bowie is Johnson C. Smith and St. Aug. But you know what? I did want to, because you asked me something about the apparel that I really want to touch on. I feel that what really differentiates Gainz Sportsgear, our HBCU line, from a lot of the other HBCU apparel lines is that we make statement pieces. And what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. Anybody can get a license and throw the trademarks of the schools on apparel, but we do our research, just like you did your research on the Anthony Anderson thing. I try to make sure that I consult with someone from that yard, right? Because we try to put a historical piece or a chant or something that yard would identify with. For example, Hampton University, I wouldn't know this unless I researched this. Hampton University have a historical tree on their yard called the Emancipation Oak, right? And I saw the tree when I went down there. But they had this saying that only the Hamptonians would know about this, called the Emancipation Oak provides the shade. So it's like a shady way of saying something, you know what I mean? Wow. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna put that on the back of the crew neck. And Hampton approved it. Hampton approved it. So you won't see that on any other pieces. That's what I mean by statement piece, right? So if I get anything down as far as like Tennessee, I'm gonna make sure that I consult with someone on that yard so I can put something that's very meaningful to the alumni, staff, and students. So that's we try to take that extra step. If that makes sense.
Well, it looks like you're definitely making your way through the HBCU community, and any way that I can connect you with someone. Now, I have to confess, I did not go to an HBCU.
That's fine.
I've always been extremely supportive. Down here in Memphis and throughout the region, honey, is you gotta be, even if you never went.
let me ask you this. The HBCUs. So you said you went to, what are the HBCUs in Memphis that you were talking about?
Well, Lamont On is here, and of course Lane University, but the two that really are impacting our region is Jackson State University and Tennessee State University.
So Tennessee State, right? Right. So let me ask you this. You said you didn't attend the HBCU, right? So would you feel comfortable with wearing a HBCU? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear.
Definitely.
TSU. The reason why I asked you that is because I have a lot of folks in my DM that went to PWIs, right? Went to non-HBCU schools, right? Yes. And they always ask, they say, "Hey, is it okay if I wear it?" Hell yeah, it's okay if you wear it. Yeah, you can, as long as you have love for the school, love for the HBCU culture, please. More than welcome. I just want to make sure we're on the same page, which we are.
You know something, of course, now that the Southern Heritage Classic has now teamed up, Jackson State has gone to another division, and Tennessee State University is now going to start going with I think it's Pine Bluff, UAP.
Okay.
University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, another historically Black college. That partnership, we will wear your jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, we will wear your jersey. That's for certain. Now, one
That's
of the things I want to make sure we talk about, Brother
Mm-hmm.
Chico, before you get out of here, is the journey of being an entrepreneur, and particularly in this particular space. And as you say, this is not something that there's a lot of African Americans in the space. So what would you share with someone who's like, this is a lane I would love to move into, whether it's the fitness piece or the apparel piece that partners with a great cause like the HBCUs?
Well, let's just talk about just entrepreneurs, just pretty much in general, right? And if you have a product or a service, I would say this: don't expect your friends or your family to support, right? If they do, they do. I swear to you, I've had more folks that I don't know support my brand versus the guys that I, rode bikes with back in the day. And I had to learn not to take that personal, right? Because I used to get upset about it. I would see my friends, wearing Nike, wearing this, wearing that. But I'm like, bro, I got a sweatsuit, right? But you know what? I had to basically embrace the folks that was rocking with me. So I rock with who rocks with me, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Totally. I remember when I first launched my grips and we got into the Merit Athletic Clubs, which is a gym that's a chain down here in Maryland. I remember the guys that I worked out with, right? My buddies. I was so happy, Christie, because my grips were on the same shelf as Under Armour stuff, right? So I thought that was big. Under Armour is a Maryland-based company, but I felt really proud because I remember when I would take my grips around to the different gyms, a lot of the older guys was like, man, you remind me of the owner of Under Armour that used to come around when he used to make us try out his t-shirts, right? So that really inspired me. Yeah, that really inspired me. But I remember telling my friends, hey man, my grips are right there. But they wouldn't, the guys I work out with, oh yeah, we see them, but would never purchase them. But when folks that didn't look like me purchased them, that's when it became validated, right? So my thing is, if I could give anybody any advice, I would say, listen, just whoever supports you, that's the ones that you go with, and you don't beg anybody to support you because you don't have to.
Right.
There's so many folks out
here.
The
product is good. That's right.
Yeah,
if the product is good,
it'll get in the right hands. Yep, it'll get in right. And make sure your
paperwork. And I gotta say,
yeah.
And I have to say, the product looks really good. Here you are. Can you talk about these particular, these right here?
Yes. So that's what really started it, right? Because I said I wanted to have a workout, something as far as like the fitness apparel that spoke to the HBCU community, because it doesn't exist. It does not exist. So these are the wrist wraps that we use. So folks can use these when they're doing like dumbbell press, bench press, any type of folks that when they want to have wrist support, and more so they serve as a conversational starter amongst HBCU lifters inside the gym, because when they see it, they're like, oh, what school did you go to? Oh, for real, blah blah blah. So it really starts a conversation starter amongst them. So. And we got a trademark for it, so that's very important.
That's and it looks really good. I really like the color scheme, everything that you have, and it's very reminiscent of Different World comes to my mind.
Oh yeah,
it just feels like a theme song should go with that. And of course, I see the hat, the jackets, and be sure, ladies and gentlemen, to check out the website. I love the marketing approach that you have. It looks really good, next level, and I look forward to hearing your name and your brand, named among the best. I do want to find out about going viral. You went viral with your daughter. What's that all about?
I know that was coming. Lord have mercy. I knew my daughter was going to come in this.
Yes, let's talk about you and your daughter and going viral.
So I don't know if you ever seen the video of the father and daughter, the little girl in the back seat singing "I'm Every Woman." I don't know if you saw that a couple years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's me and my daughter. So that's my daughter.
No.
Yeah, that's my daughter and I. Yep. So yeah, so we've had like a lot of viral videos, and it's crazy because from the viral videos, she was actually on what is it called? Little Big Shots, little NBC Little Big Shots, right? So from that's when I had all these agencies reaching out to me, and I was like, man, I don't want her to sign with just anybody, right? So the producer that called us for her to be on NBC Little Big Shots, she actually introduced us to the agency up in New York, who my daughter is currently signed to, Stewart Talent. So from that, I mean, she's been doing really well. She did a movie about a year ago. That was her first feature film. She was the lead little actor. It was called Soul Santa, and it was a Christmas film, and she played alongside of David and Tamela Mann, the Browns off of BET. They played their parents. Yeah. And yeah, all this came from these videos, and she just did. Oh, I have to say this. She was nominated for a Young Actors Award, so we had to go out to LA, red carpet. She didn't win. I was upset that she didn't win, but
come on, Daddy.
Man, I was real mad. Christie, I was so mad, right? My wife I'm sitting there with attitude the whole time. Like I didn't care nothing about nothing else. I was sitting there so mad in my suit. My wife she kicked me like, get your ass.
It says straighten up. Right. Wow.
Straighten up. So she just did. So from that, then she just did a because this is her voiceover machine here. So she just did it's called Reindeer in here. There was a CBS animation, so Christmas film. And so she played one of the characters in that, and we got to go next week. We got to go. She's on Sesame Street. So she's doing her thing.
Speaking of Sesame Street, I did go on your social, and I totally grew up watching Sesame Street and Zoom and General Electric. So I know that has to still be a magical place. What did she share from her experience doing that?
Well, she loved it. When she went, the COVID restrictions were a little higher, so I wasn't even allowed to go. I was in a hotel. So yeah, I was in a hotel. So she said that she had a great time. She had a great time, and she met all the characters and everything. So she absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Well, you know something, Brother Chico, you and your daughter are a 1-2 punch. So I'm excited to see all the amazing things, as well as your wife being in business as well. Shout out to her and her brand, her sparking you being in the space. What's the name of her brand again?
Oh, Kitchen Chronicles Hair Care Supply. Kitchen Chronicles Hair Care Supply. So I mean, the oil I use the oil on my beard and on my hair, and then she has the hair butter. Yeah, it's really good stuff. It's really good stuff. It smells good too.
I love that. It smells good too. Hey, we got to have it smell good.
I know. That's why I said that. I know how y'all are about to smell good. So I got you.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. Any last words you want to share? How we can support you? Of course, they can go to your website, but some new things that you may have rolling out for 2023.
This is if you check this out, this is one of the new designs. The HBCU athletics been dope. We created culture. And we set the trends. Support is welcome, but let's make sure that the main trend we set is giving back to our yards, Gainz Sportsgear. So this is about ready to drop in a couple weeks. It's the same, but I like how it has like the frills on it.
I love that. I was checking that out.
Yeah, something a little different. But we have some new things that's coming, and we have some new schools that's about ready to drop on the site too. So we working.
Well, I'm super excited about it. And thank you so much once again for coming by the Christie Taylor Show. And anytime when you're in Tennessee, if you get a chance to come through Memphis, be sure to touch bases. And we can show you around our magical city. All right?
I would love it. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. Hope to see you soon.
Hope to see you soon. And blessings, everyone. Thank you for watching the Christie Taylor Show.